Nope.
I have no idea what we're talking about.
Red Letter Media is the guy who got famous from doing the Star Wars reviews.
Still nope.
You know what I'm talking about, right? Harry Plinkett.
It rings a bell.
Star Wars is the worst thing since my son. That guy.
Oh, yeah. I have seen the reviews. Fucking hell.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
amazing. Like, that voice, you nailed it, by the way. Like, as soon as you said that voice, I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? What's up, guys, and welcome to episode 10 of Podcast Reload. It's the general gaming podcast by Sifted.net subscribers, where we invite community guests onto the show every week to talk about the games industry in all its weird ways. I am your host, Vin Hill, and joining me, as always, is my co-host and fellow Japan dweller, Evan Piotrowski.
Hey, guys.
And joining us as well is, of course, our community guest, which this week, it's Dyson.
Hey.
Cool, and you're DysonXP on the site, right?
Yep.
Cool. So nice and easy. I think people should know you've been around for quite a while. You were on there the same time as me, right? You were from the very beginning.
I joined just after the trial.
Yeah, after the old beta.
The trial expired, and then it was my birthday. Like a week later, I thought I'll just wait until then, and then I'll go buy it.
Cool. So this week we've only got one correction, which Evan pointed out, and rightfully so, a few episodes ago, or a couple of episodes. I can't remember when I said it, but I actually said Louis C.K. was C.K. Lewis. I think I got a bit mixed up because of C.S. Lewis, you know, like the Chronicles of Narnia people. But yeah, I'm kicking myself. Legendary comedian. I apologise in advance to any fans out there that were probably like rolling their eyes at me while they were trying to listen to the
So
podcast.
when he listens to this episode, then he'll be like, oh, okay, those guys fixed it, so.
Yeah. They'll be sat in mind, how dare you get his name wrong? Oh, it's okay, that's cool now.
Yeah.
Easy enough.
I think that's it, though.
I've got a correction,
go on.
actually. Like in the YouTube, it says you're only level 20, when really you're level 21, man. And that's
All right, fair play.
that's a big deal.
That is a big deal. I need to sort that out. Thanks
Yeah,
for pointing
you
that out. I'll bring that up on next week's episode.
You better.
So good. Okay, so we'll move on to our question of the week, which is, Dyson, we've got a question for you.
Sweet.
You are stuck on a desert island. You can take one game along with you, along with its corresponding console. What do you choose and why?
It would have to be League of Legends for the PC, obviously. And the reason that is because it's by far my most played game. I've spent maybe over 200 days on this game.
Damn.
Wow.
It's actually hard to work out because there's these sites that tell you how long you've played, but I've had like 5 different
Why would you even
accounts.
look at them?
It's pretty depressing.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
wouldn't look at the site. I just would not
don't
look
do
at
it.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus,
It was
that's horrible. I
great.
think World of Warcraft used to tell you how long you played that game for. I remember every time I looked at it, it was just like, oh, man, why do you tell me? Why am I looking at this? And then I'll go and feel bad about my life for half an hour.
Yeah, that's pretty much how I felt.
But have you been playing League of Legends for a long time then?
Yeah, I've been playing it for about 3 years. I got to Plat, which is like, it's okay. It's not the best, but it's definitely not the worst. But even though I put the game to rest, if I was stuck on an island, it would easily keep me engaged until I got rescued or until I died. One of the two.
So a good distraction, you say?
Yeah, I would be like, am I on an island or did it know?
So are you a big MOBA player, or like, were you ever into World of Warcraft?
I was not into World of Warcraft. I thought, why would I spend all that time on one game? And then later on in life...
Now you're playing League of Legends.
Yeah. But I think we all need at least one game that we've like, oh yeah, I used to play that game.
Yeah, right.
So,
No,
yeah,
it's a good one to sort of get lost in, I guess, especially for a desert island. Would be a good game for that. But yeah, have you ever played League of Legends, Evan? I don't think I have.
No. I went to my friend's a friend who plays League of Legends sometime last year. He was having a party in Osaka, I think, and he was talking about League of Legends, and I was like, I don't understand MOBAs. I don't get them. And he was like, well, I'll sit down and I can explain the general concept to you, and you can watch a match, or I don't even know what they call it. I sound like such an old man. Do you play one of those League of Legend games. So he sat me down and he basically, went through the heroes list and then kind of just the whole thing in really layman terms. And I watched it and I was like, I still don't get it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like I watched one pro game once, and like I was on Twitch or whatever. Like I'm flicking through the games. I was like, I'll go and have a look at what all these kids are talking about League of Legends sort of thing. So I went and clicked on it, and it was probably the most confusing 20 minutes of all my life. I was just like, what the fuck is even happening right now? And there's like cheers from the crowd, like on this live show or whatever. I'm like, what are you cheering at? No one died.
Actually, that's a good question then. So Dyson, how long did it take you to feel comfortable with the game? From the day that you first picked it up and started playing it?
Well, when I first picked it up, all my friends were playing it, and then they all got bored of the game after like a month. And I'm like, well, I still like this game, so I'm going to keep playing. And then about a few months later, I really just started getting into it. But you'll find out that you never fully get comfortable with it, because that's when you start discovering,
right, it's one of those.
Oh my god, I just realized I don't know anything about this game. And then you learn all this, and then once you've learned all that, again down the road something clicks in your head, you're like, oh my god, this changes everything, I've been playing all along. Right. It never stops.
Yeah, it's like
fully understand.
It's like poker, right? It's like just a card game, but if you actually like dive deep into poker, it just keeps going, and you just keep learning more and more and building your knowledge about the game. My brother does it, and
I miss playing poker so much. I haven't played a game of poker in like 3 years.
Do you mean Trump?
No, like Texas Hold'em.
Oh, right. No, I was making a joke about just in Japan everything is like they say Trump, right? Not Donald Trump, obviously. They call card games. They call card games or cards Trump cards, which is actually kind of interesting.
That is weird.
Yeah.
Oh well. Anyway, let's move on. Move on to what we've been playing this week. So we'll start off with you, Evan. What have you been playing this week, man?
I am happy to announce I am not playing Resident Evil Revelations 1. I couldn't. Thank you. Yeah, I need the red button from Game Face. If only I had one.
Yeah.
And Shane's like approval sort of nod with the slight squint that he does. Like, I love that shit. It's hilarious.
Exactly. I couldn't, in good conscience, let myself get on this show for a fifth week and say I was playing a 9-hour game again.
Right.
Or still. So I hit crunch time. I hit like maybe 1 p.m. and I was like, I got to finish this game. So I cracked out about like the last 4 hours of it, finished it. I really liked it. And I'm just glad that Resident Evil Revelations 2 improves on every aspect of the first game. So if they bring out a 3, hopefully they do the same as they did from 1 to 2. But I will say, actually, I did play another game last Friday. It was a day off, a national holiday in Japan. It's been sitting on my hard drive for ages, and I bit the bullet and I was like, all right, I want to play this game. I've currently played through the first 2 episodes of Tales from the Borderlands.
Oh, nice.
And I think I'm in the same boat as everyone. So I'm kind of just parroting almost every opinion about it. It's like a Telltale game based on Borderlands. That does not sound like an interesting game. And it's really good.
I've heard good things, man. Like, the more I think about it as well, like, I had the same reaction as you when I first heard about it, because I still haven't played it. But when I first heard about it, I was like, man, that's weird. Like, why are they working on that? And then, like, the art style and, like, the humor that's in it as well, and just, it started festering in my brain. And, like, the more I thought about it, the more I thought, that probably would be a good game. Like, the more I think about it.
Right. It's just, I'm not going to give anything away, but just like you have 2 protagonists, the framing of the entire story is really, really interesting and clever. And it immediately goes in interesting directions. And it's not even the fact that it has anything to do with Borderlands. I just think the writing and the characters are really good. But this is coming from someone whose favorite Telltale game is A Wolf Among Us, so I might be weird. I'm like the outlier.
That's fair enough, man. Everyone has their favorites,
Yeah, but
as long as it isn't Jurassic Park, because that one was, oh boy, that was bad.
I never played that one. I've heard bad things about it. But I'm freed from the shackles of Revelations, and I think that for the rest of the week I'll get through Borderlands, Tales from the Borderlands. I'm enjoying it a lot.
Cool. How about you, Dyson? What have you been playing?
I've been playing the Mirror's Edge beta. pretty impressed with that game so far, and it's one of the few betas where it hasn't put me off buying the release. Like usually when I play a game, I'm like, it's not as good as I thought it was going to be, or it's a bit lame. But yeah, I was like, this game, totally going to buy it day one. Get sucked
All right,
in.
I'm gonna leave you two alone for a couple minutes. go have at
Get
it.
a room. Yeah. No, same boat. Like I've been playing it as well. Like I'm in the same opinion as you. I think where it's sort of meeting my expectations because I played the first one. I love the first one. I played through all the time trials with a 3-star them all, and like the beta for me so far, it's just like it takes everything from the first one and just improves upon it so far. Like I'm really really enjoying it. Like I had a blast in the beta, but. Did you play the first one?
I didn't actually play the first one, but I did play the Windows Phone Mirror's Edge game that they brought out.
Well, that's all that matters.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
That was actually my first experience of Mirror's Edge, just swiping up to jump and then swiping down to slide. I was like, this is actually really cool.
One of the better... Yeah, it was
Makes
actually one
sense,
of the
I guess.
better mobile games. That was one of the first ones that came out where people looked at mobile and was like, oh, these games can be actually quite fun. Mirror's Edge, like, sort of...
It's weird.
But shit, man, that was, like, back in 2007, maybe? So it was probably one of the first, like, full graphic mobile games.
Definitely. And it's weird. The original game, I played it for, like, 10 minutes. I'm like, yeah, it's kind of cool. I'll get around to it. And then I never did. But because I had the mobile game, and, I was on the bus, so I'm like, I'll just play that Mirror's Edge game. And that's when I actually got into Mirror's Edge through the mobile game, and now I'm totally ready for this new one.
Do you think you'll so you're gonna get Catalyst? You just said, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think you'll ever go back and play the first one again?
No.
No.
I wouldn't. There's certain things that they've added into Catalyst, which if you went and played the first one again, it's like, oh, where's that? But because it's weird, like with Mirror's Edge, it becomes so natural to play it. Like you get so used to the controls, like how fluid it is. Like if you take one of them things out, like it would really fuck you up. Like I would really suggest that you wouldn't go and play the first one after you played the beta of Catalyst.
Okay. I think you're a massive fan, Vin. I think you've convinced me. I'm going to re-download it because I own the game.
Yeah, I would play for if you've got the first one.
Yeah.
And you haven't played the beta, then yes, you should definitely play the first one.
All right, I'll do that. I will.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Enjoy it. But yeah, this week, all I've been playing, I played the beta last weekend, which I actually got the code from Alex, our previous guest. So I want to give a big shout out to him saying, thanks, man. It was really cool. I know. We need that fucking red button, man. We'll have to get in touch with Shane and ask him where he got it from. But yeah, big thanks to Alex for that. But on top of that, I've also been playing Bloodborne again. Brent sort of inspired me to re-download it and try it out again.
I was wondering. I was wondering why you decided to jump back into that.
I was watching Brent. I was like, man, I really didn't give this game much of a chance. So I've gotten a bit further than Brent. I think I'm about 3 bosses in, and I'm enjoying it still. But the same problems are still persistent. It still feels a bit unresponsive, and the Souls fans are going to be shaking in their seats right now. But yeah, there's a few problems with the game which I'm still running into. But other than that, I'm enjoying it. Me and my fiance are both sort of going through it and trying to figure out what the hell is actually going on in the story and stuff. So yeah.
Are the loading times still bad?
No, they're way better actually.
Okay.
They're probably about half now. They're way better. That's one of the first things I noticed when I re-downloaded it. I was like, holy shit, like this game is a bit faster now. That's nice.
Yeah, I never played any of those games. I'm thinking about it maybe someday.
Yeah, it's tough to sell, man. But yeah, it's one of them things. I don't know if the games would be good if they were easy. It's one of them things.
Sure, that's what I hear.
But, everyone's got their own opinion and stuff. They can all form it. Enjoy the Souls games; they're good. But yeah, we should probably move on. We'll move on to our main topic in the podcast, which is, of course, the Small Three. And in the Small Three, we each take a topic from the games industry. It can be anything that we want. It can be a game that we're looking forward to, a non-topic story. It can be absolutely anything we want, even a game that we hate. So, in traditional sense, we're going to kick off with our guest this week, which is, of course, Dyson. So, Dyson, man, do you want to give us a quick intro to what you want to talk about in the Small Three?
Okie dokes. Okay, so my topic is Back in Time. Pretty lame title, but you've been given the ability to go back in time and change one thing in the games industry. So basically, you just have to answer 4 questions. What would you change? Why would you change it? What you would have done differently? And what effect it might have had today. Now, I will just kick this off and give you guys some time to think things over.
Process it.
All right, so what I would change is I would go back to when Sonic Unleashed was being developed. If you don't know...
Oh, God.
Yeah. If anyone doesn't know, it's the one where Sonic turns into a werehog or something, a werewolf.
Just even saying it, like, oh, God.
Yeah. Well,
not with a straight face. Yeah.
Yeah, oh, it's hard, man.
But what's frustrating for me is that Sonic Unleashed to me was probably actually the best 3D Sonic game that Sega ever made, in my opinion. Like the raw speed in which Sonic can move. It had a mix of both the 3D and the 2D elements, and that really worked well. And the game looks incredible. It still looks good today, to this point, if you watch a video. That is until it becomes nighttime, of course, where you turn into this god-awful slow werehog, and you're like, I have no memory. I've erased the memory of my mind. I just remember it being awful. And the only reason like you tortured yourself to continue playing was like, just get me back to daytime so I could be the actual Sonic. The thing that I changed would basically just remove that from the game entirely. The reason I change it is because the reason sorry, I fucked up there. But the reason I would change it is because while there were a few disappointing Sonic games beforehand, I was still like, still a fan. I'm like, yeah, okay, Sonic Heroes, bit shit, whatever. And it was just when it came to playing that werehog thing, I just gave up on Sonic, really. I just accepted Sega's inability to make a good Sonic game and just stepped away from the franchise. So, big key moment in time for me that I would like to change. But what I would have done differently is just basically remove the werehog. Seems simple. And just change the story.
Yeah.
Just speak to the guys like, hey, your idea of turning Sonic into a werehog, let's just scrap that idea and keep it Sonic. And
yeah, what are the odds, right?
Yeah. And the effect that it might have had today, probably nothing. It might have been a much better
right.
It might have been a much better Sonic game, maybe even the best. I might go that far. But being Sega, they would no doubt fuck up again and make Sonic wear a scarf in the next game, so it would have made a difference. I would have just been delaying the inevitable that was the demise of Sonic. But at least I would have had a Sonic game for myself that I could always come back to and enjoy. But right now, I don't have that. It's like, man, what Sonic game can I play to like relive? Like, well, there's Sonic Unleashed, but it's got Werewolf, and there's Sonic Heroes, but you can only play as a group of 3 instead of I don't have a Sonic game to like, cherish and play. That's 3D anyway. So anyway, that was what I would change. How about you, Evan?
All right, so I thought about this for a bit, and I think what I would change is to finally give the PC Engine, aka the TurboGrafx 16, what it deserved, which was success.
Right.
That system is fucking great.
You really love this system, man. I think you brought it up like 4 times now or something.
I probably have. I don't know if I've brought it up in the podcast before, but I've definitely...
No, you haven't.
I made a top 10 list of my favorite TurboGrafx 16 games in one of my blogs. I even started a thread, and this is way back when, this is like 6 months ago. I posted a "Let's talk about the TurboGrafx 16." That was the thread name, and I posted all the games I like, and then like 6 days passed, and there wasn't one comment.
I remember. I think I commented on it at one point. It was like a week after. Like I was scrolling like down and down and down, like until I hit this forum post. I was like, "What the fuck is that?" So yeah, I clicked on it, and then I commented on it saying, "I've never even heard of any of these games." Like,
I have just one question. What's TurboGrafx 16?
Okay,
no idea what you're talking about.
I'm going to say, I guess the TurboGrafx 16. Well, I should say give the TurboGrafx 16 what it deserves, not the PC Engine, because the PC Engine was actually very successful in Japan. So basically, the PC Engine was a system that was developed by Hudson Soft. You know, the little bee icon, the old school Hudson bee. Yeah.
God,
and and NEC. So they got into the console market in late '87 in Japan, and then it came to the States in fall of '89. So I think the Super Nintendo, no, not the Super Nintendo. The Nintendo came out in '83 in Japan and in '85 in the States. And so this system came out, and it was basically like the first 16-bit system, at least in Japan. The Mega Drive came out the same year in the States. Okay, let me backpedal a bit. So it came out in '87 in Japan, and then the Mega Drive came out in '88. And then in the States, the Mega Drive and the TurboGrafx-16 came out in the same month in '89. And the system got buried. The system got buried and then the Super Nintendo came out 2 years later, and just the Super Nintendo and the Genesis, as it's called in the States, completely buried the TurboGrafx-16, whereas the PC Engine in Japan actually, at one point, sold better than the Super Nintendo and the Mega Drive. And to prove like how bad it actually did in the States, I think it's like 150 titles or so were released for the TurboGrafx-16, whereas there were like 650 titles released for the PC Engine in Japan.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I don't know, Dyson, are you familiar with Bonk? The caveman with the massive head that smashes things?
Yeah.
Bonk means something different in the UK. I have to.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I'm just gonna leave that.
Okay, so you're familiar with Bonk.
Yeah, very familiar. Actually.
Okay. Not
Since
gonna
around
ask.
the age of 16. No, I'm joking.
Okay, right. Okay, gotcha. So basically, Sonic. You had your Sonic. You had Mario. Bonk was basically the mascot for the TurboGrafx-16, and it was one of the first games released for the system, I believe. And the TurboGrafx-16 had some great games that weren't available on the Super Nintendo or the Genesis, and even more games in Japan. I mean, that basically the PC Engine was like like shmup heaven. If you liked shmups, you would absolutely adore this system because it had tons of them. And I just wish I could go back in time and turn the fortune of the system around. How would I do that? I don't really know, but it just sucks to me that
at a better time. I think that console was like a perfect example of what bad timing is.
I think you're right. Yeah, it came out.
It's a really good case study for like even in the future right now. Like if you look at how badly that console did because of when it came out, and only because of when it came out. Because I don't think the price was that bad on it, right? Like
I don't remember how much it was. I don't think it cost that much.
I can't remember the full details of it, but yeah, it's just purely bad timing, I think.
Sounds a shame.
Yeah, and especially the timing in the States and in Europe. It did horrible in Europe as well. But yeah,
Right.
I mean, it came out a couple years after the NES, and then it just got swallowed by two systems that, especially the Super Nintendo, which came out later. Yeah, it just it was in this weird bubble. It just got released in the wrong time. So yeah, maybe that's what I would change. Better marketing strategy. I changed the look of the system. If you ever see a PC Engine, it's really, really small because they didn't use cartridges. They used these things called Hue cards. They're the size of a credit card. And you'd actually just
yeah, I do remember those.
Yeah, you'd slide it into the system. So the system itself, it you have to see a picture of it. It's so small. It's like smaller than a Wii. And it's light as. I mean, you could almost fit it in your pocket. But when they were releasing it in the States, way back then in terms of technology, there was a whole stigma about like size meant power.
Yeah.
And so when they were trying to market the system in the States, they were worried that people would look at the system and think two things. One, how could something so small be so powerful? And two, how could something so small cost that much money?
Right, yeah, that's a good point.
And
Completely different these days, right? Like, the smaller the better.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, back then it just everything about the marketing and how they tried to it just got sandwiched in between the Genesis and the Super Nintendo, and it just one thing that sucks is I think that thread that I created proves my point where like no one's played these games. Like
I had no idea until today.
Right.
Yeah. The Bonk games are great platformers that have basically
Sorry.
Bonk's main attack is his head. So his whole mechanic is he jumps in the air, and if you mash the button, he'll spin. So if you hit the button once, he'll flip from being upright to his head head over heels, basically. If you hit the button again, he'll go heels over head. And the more you hit it, he'll spin in the air, but you can only hurt people if you hit them with your head. And so it's kind of cool mechanic. You jump off ledges and he'd spin and you could like bounce off enemies with your head. It was just really, really fun games, but it just sucks because there's games like Silent Debuggers, Airzonk, which is a take on the Bonk games.
Do you know what these sort of sound like? Like you're telling me all these title names, and it's like, you know, when you're watching like a movie or something, and they put a gamer in the movie, and they have to invent all these crazy names, like the video games that he's playing or something. That's sort of what it sounds like. You're saying all these like, oh, let's go play Bonk, dude. And it's like, what? Like, oh man, that's not a game. You know?
Hey, did you pick up the latest Airzonk? Airzonk 2. Yeah,
it sounds like a movie title.
Another one, Ninja Spirit, which is originally an arcade game. Amazing game. Legendary X 2, classic. And it just sucks because there's this whole portion of gaming history that just was never, just because the system did so poorly in Europe and in the States, that no one has ever experienced. And now, of course, you can experience it, but just look what happened. Like, I posted that thread, and you had never even heard of the system in 2015. Yeah, and it's too late. Like, you're not going back. You're not gonna.
Yeah, no one's gonna go and look at the old games and be like, "Oh, I've never heard of this game, so I'm gonna play it." No, people only play like games that they've heard of, pretty much, to play on emulators these days.
Yeah, and it just sucks that there's this part of gaming history that I think deserved more people to know about it. That it's just not going to happen. So that's what I changed. I mean, it's a really stupid one. It's a simple one, but Vin, how about yourself? What would you change if you could go back?
If I could go back in time and change something, I would go back to, I don't exactly know when it happened. It was like 2003, 2002 or something. I'm going to need a clarification on it. But the day that Squaresoft decided to merge with Enix, I'd go back and tell them, this is a horrific idea. You shouldn't do this. And the reason why I would change it is because I think the reason why Final Fantasy is so shit these days, that's my obvious opinion, but I think the reason why it's so bad right now is because it's got no competition. And pre-Square Enix merger, Final Fantasy were constantly trying to release all the time really fast because they were constantly up against Dragon Quest, which was made by Enix.
Right.
So without that competition, like, the development cycles just got really long, and everything just changed pretty much for Square. So, like, I often say, whenever someone's talking about an old Squaresoft game, I always say, rest in peace, Squaresoft, because they're a different company now, like, very different, like, through and through. The games are different, like, how they market stuff is different, it's just all very different. So, yeah, that would be the thing that I would definitely go back and say, hey, guys, you probably shouldn't merge with Enix. Like, of all the companies you could choose, this is probably the worst one.
So I think what you're trying to say is you should actually go back and wipe the spirits within off the face of the earth.
Yeah, well, yeah, you're right. I mean, you've hit on the reason. That is the actual reason, because they decided, hey, we're going to make a movie with Final Fantasy, and the budget went way over and it did bankrupt Squaresoft to the point that they had to make a merger. It didn't just like occur to them.
Right.
So yeah, like I'd probably go back in time and be like, yo, a Final Fantasy movie would be a terrible idea. Don't do that.
Yeah, just whisper in someone's ear. That's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it makes me sad, just like how different Enix and Square are, and I'm sure Dragon Quest fans feel the exact same way. Like, I'm sure they look at Dragon Quest now. It's like, man, it used to be so much better before they joined with Square.
Yeah, what could have been.
Or maybe they don't. I don't know. But yeah, that's my major one. But Yeah, I mean, what would you have done differently? I don't know. I would have made them join with a different studio, probably. Like, I don't know who. Fuck, another, like, Namco, Bandai, anyone, you know? It's just, I think they needed that competition. But yeah, we should probably move on, actually. We'll move on to Evan's topic this week. Do you want to introduce what you want to talk about, man?
Yeah, so my topic for the week is the best of the best exclusive titles. And the reason I bring this topic up now is because Dyson is or was kind of more of an Xbox console gamer, and I never was. And I Vin, you and I really can't be, can we? I mean, we live in Japan.
Like, yeah, well,
it's virtually non-existent.
I was a massive Xbox 360 owner. Like, I had that years before I got my PS3. So.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, this conversation will be fun. But yep. Actually, in the comments from one of the podcasts that was curated and sifted, he kind of said, "Well, you guys never talk about the Xbox." So I thought, when he comes on, why not have a conversation about what exclusive titles on, whether it's last gen consoles or current gen consoles, what are the best titles for these consoles? So I guess Dyson, I can throw it to you. You can start with the 360 if you want. You can do PS3, whatever. What do you think are the best of the best exclusive titles?
Well, like I was saying, I don't actually own the Xbox One. Even as a fan of Xbox, there's just no justification to like even purchase one. But there is an upcoming exclusive I'm excited about, and that's Recore. I don't know if you guys have heard about that game.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Only like a CGI trailer at the moment, but it certainly has my interest. I'm hoping it follows suit with like Quantum Break and goes on to Windows 10, because I just don't want to have to buy an Xbox just to play one game. But anyway, getting back to the best of the best, there are two games from the 360 era which they're probably obvious choices, and they're Gears of War and Halo 3. I could go into the gameplay and like trying to explain what about the gameplay made these games so great, but instead, I'm just going to talk about the impact they had as an Xbox owner, and hopefully that will kind of like tell you how good the game was in that way. So,
sure. Yeah.
When the 360 first came out, once everyone got over how bad Perfect Dark Zero was, everyone just went back to playing Halo 2, and that's all everyone did. Like, brand new console, first year, everyone just playing Halo 2. So there were a few games that came along, I can't remember which ones, but, that took you off Halo 2 for like maybe a week, and then after you go over, you're like, yeah, back to Halo.
Back to the old Halo.
And then Gears of War came, and that really changed everything. Like, Halo 2 just stopped, and Gears of War wasn't just like this weak game that everyone played and jumped back. It stuck, and everyone was playing it. So for a game to be that good, I think that kind of speaks for itself in a lot of ways. And
no, definitely.
But yeah, not only was it a good game, it was like totally fresh, new IP that's still obviously used today. And it broke the mold that everyone had for so long, which was just play Halo 2. So that's one title anyway. And Halo 3 is the other one. It beat all expectations, really. It was a game that you couldn't actually hype too much. Like, people are like, oh, it's going to be this, it's going to be this, it's going to be this. And like...
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It sort of matched them all as well,
yeah,
right? Like, I remember the marketing for that game was just huge, and everyone was like, nah, it's not going to be that good. Like, it's just going to be like a Halo 2, but like a bit more or whatever, which it certainly isn't a bad thing. But when it came out, it was just like, oh, this is huge, actually. This is really cool.
It pretty much did completely smash it. And like its predecessor in Halo 2 introduced new things like party chat, which like you'd never really heard of before. Like, what the fuck's all this? And with Halo 3, It had the Forge, because back in Halo 2, everyone was having to make their own game types in really stupid, ridiculous ways. Like, they had a zombies game type, and it's like, when you die, you need to switch teams and change color. But with Halo 3, they gave you the tools to do all this stuff on your own. So even just that made Halo 3 just the game that everyone played on 360 for like...
Oh, definitely. I remember like just them adding Forge to Halo 3 was huge. Like, even when, like, you finished the game, it was like, all right, we're kind of bored. It's like, oh, let's just go make our own levels. And that lasted, like, another year of, like, sort of content. It was awesome. Like, me and my friends made so many, like, custom levels just out of Forge. It was crazy.
I've only ever played Halo Reach, which is kind of weird, isn't it?
No, it's not. It's not a bad game to start on. It was Bungie's last Halo, actually.
Sure. All right, actually, let's do this. Let's go console to console. So let's stick with the 360. So we have Halo 3 and Gears of War. How about you, Vin? Because you said you were a 360 owner as well, right?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, same as well. Halo 3 and Gears of War just came out of nowhere, pretty much. But yeah, they were huge games. But the one which I want to give a shout out, because I don't think a lot of people even know about this, but before Mistwalker decided to become a mobile developer, they made a game called Lost Odyssey.
Ah, yeah.
And this was an Xbox exclusive, and a lot of people don't know, but the creator of Final Fantasy left Square, and when he did, he went to form a company called Mistwalker, and he made a game called Lost Odyssey. And Lost Odyssey is pretty much a Final Fantasy game, but in like HD graphics, and it runs like absolute dog shit. Don't get me wrong, like it's like the engine just is not designed for that game. I hope they do a remaster one day, because it is such a great game, and it feels like Final Fantasy. It was just like playing the game and hitting a part of the game where there was a world map, and the game had 4 discs, and it was crazy. It was like, this is just a Final Fantasy. And then I did a bit more research into it, and then it hit me. I was like, oh shit. Like, I think Uematsu even does the music for it. It's awesome.
Yeah, I do remember that game, or people talking about how how long this game is, and not in a bad way. Like, it's over with like 4 discs. It's this great tale of this, was it some immortal guy, and how he yeah. I always want to move that strand of hair out of his face though.
Yeah, teacher. How about you, man? Did you have a 360 or?
No, I didn't. But my brother did. So I did play a couple 360 games, like Halo Reach. My brother and I played that start to finish together.
Cool.
So yeah, but like I was never really into Halo, and I probably didn't get a lot out of the system just because I didn't play it that much. Only when I was at my brother's house. But one game that really, how impactful it was to me when I played it was Gears of War 2. I actually never played Gears of War, the first one, but my brother and I went start to finish through Gears of War 2, and it's just everything about it. The running gun shooting, they improved upon the third person over the right shoulder shooting that Resident Evil 4 revolutionized, and then the cover system, and just the guns. The story is kind of weird, but I kind of like this whole thing of like these creatures that lived under the earth came up and they need to take it over because they're being pushed out themselves. And
yeah, it's a cool story, man.
Yeah, especially at the end of the game when you start going deeper and deeper into the hive. It's just one of those games that is absolutely amazing, and I had such a great time playing it with my brother. I would say that would be the main one for me, my favorite exclusive for the 360. All right, I guess we can move on. How about the PlayStation 3? Dyson, did you own a PlayStation 3?
I don't own a PlayStation 3, but from a perspective when you don't own a PS3, you're just like, man, if I had a PS3, it would be The Last of Us and Uncharted.
Yeah, of course.
They're like 2 games that everyone talks about, and I'm just like, what the fuck are these games? And I'm like, I really can't justify buying a console just to play 2 games, even if they're amazing. But sitting from the the back of the audience, watching everyone play these games, those are the main 2 that everyone always brings up. So those would be my 2 if I did have any.
Right. All right. Yeah, Vin, should we just get the obvious out of the way? And
right. Yeah. I think obviously The Last of Us is going to be on this list for all of us, probably, right?
Yeah, I would just say Naughty Dog.
Right. I mean, without that studio, I think half of the PlayStation success is because of that studio. Like, I'm not even over exaggerating, I don't think.
Well, it just goes to show, like, Dyson didn't have a PS3, but he knows, like, just everyone knows those games, and
it's just they're becoming like a huge name, and they definitely deserve the respect that they get now.
Yeah.
I mean, they earn their stripes, sort of thing. But the only other one that I wanted to really mention was Ni no Kuni on the PS3.
That's on my list as well.
Oh, nice. But yeah, that's one of them gems that slipped out towards the end of the generation before the PS4 came out, and a lot of people sort of missed it. And I really, really hope for the fans that, like, what would be fans of that game, get a remaster of that before the second one comes out, because such a beautiful game.
Yeah, it's just
great. It's one of them games that is like the benchmark of what every single JRPG should be at this point in, like, you know, like the industry sort of age. It's full HD graphics, full voice acted moments, like beautiful animation. It's just a beautiful game. Like, it's really a great one to definitely check out.
Yeah, it's just such a throwback to the, you know, like the glory days of JRPGs and that. And I was just wondering, like, what does that exactly mean? I think it's charming, it's bright, it's colorful. Like, when I was playing that game, it reminded me of the first time that I went to the fair in Chrono Trigger at the beginning of the game.
yeah. No, it's a great example. That's great.
It's just,
but yeah, it's just a beautiful, vibrant game. It's just fun. You know, it's happy. It's a nice game.
Yeah, definitely. All right, and then so I was thinking, like, we could get, you know, some obvious ones out of the way. We got, you know, Last of Us and that. I would say, does this count, Vin, the Ico and the Shadow of the Colossus HD collection? It's an exclusive, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's a Sony. It's a Sony exclusive. But,
right.
They originally came out on the PS2, but I think the majority of people played them on the PS3, sort of thing. So it's sort of like when people, if you tell someone now, like, did you play Grand Theft Auto 5 on the PS3? People are like, what? It's on the PS3? Like, it's just completely ejected out of their brain now. Like, because that's a PS4 game, like, to most people.
Right.
I think Ico and Shadow of the Colossus have sort of got that same, you know, persona about them.
Sure.
Where they are PS3 games, pretty much.
Okay, let's see what else we got. Oh, yeah, of course. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure All-Star Battle. I'm just kidding. Let's see.
One which I would mention, which I have to give a shout out to, is Heavy Rain.
Yeah. Actually, I really enjoyed Heavy Rain. I was surprised that I enjoyed Heavy Rain, I think. But I did.
Yeah. Yeah, it came out of nowhere as well.
Yeah,
because, like, Fahrenheit came out on the PS2 and everyone enjoyed it, but when Heavy Rain first came out, it's like we'd never seen graphics of that fidelity. We'd not seen a story that well crafted. Like, the ending still nailed me, like, the first time around. And I pretty much thought, you know, I've got this nailed down, know exactly who it is. And then it's revealed, like, the ending, like, oh shit, okay, they nailed me hard.
Yeah,
like,
I didn't see it coming.
Game. Yeah, I didn't whatsoever. But the HD remaster is out on the PS4 now, so go check it out if you haven't already.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Couple others to see. God of War 3. I know the God of War series is one of the series that there's so much backlash at it at this point, but when those games came out, they were like the darlings of the gaming world, right?
Yeah, they were. Rightfully so.
I think so. Yeah, God of War 3 is an absolutely amazing game. Say what you will about the character of what's his name?
Angry Man Kratos.
Kratos, yes.
Yeah.
But just the games are fun, absolutely amazing. Even just the beginning of that game when the Titans are climbing Mount Olympus to attack Zeus, that opening scene where you're fighting Poseidon it's like when we talked about the Uncharted series and those set piece moments. God of War 3 has them in spades, and it's just so many memorable moments in that game, and it's fun to play as well. We got Infamous, of course. I actually never played Infamous 2. But I did play the first Infamous. It's just a fun game. It was, you know, this RPG kind of elements with third-person shooting, an open world, and cool powers that let you traverse the world in interesting and fun ways. And it was cool, like, kind of fighting the gangs on these islands and piecing the story together. I actually quite like the story. I don't know. Really liked it. Let's see. Throw in a couple. Oh, Journey.
Oh yeah, shit, of course. Oh my god, I'm kicking myself. Really?
Yeah. Isn't it one of your favorite games of all time?
Yeah, man, it's number 10. Jesus. Oh, I'm such an idiot.
Yeah,
There's so many good games on the PS3. Like, it was basically the exclusive console, you know. Like Xbox had all the great third-party titles, like, pretty much catered to them. But the PS3, when they had third party, they had a lot of issues because of the single cell processor.
Right.
But when they did exclusives, they fucking nailed it, and they nailed it really well. And they had some really great studios behind it, like Santa Monica Studios, Naughty Dog, obviously that game company for Journey and Flow and Flower, like just awesome studios.
Right, yeah.
I really do feel like I've missed out a lot by not owning a PlayStation. So,
well, that's the good thing about PS4 right now, because if you bought a PS4, then all the great games that were on the PS3, all the exclusives, have pretty much all been remastered by now. So yeah,
sure.
Now is the time.
I am pretty tempted to get PS4, but we'll see.
Yeah, definitely. All right, and then quickly, just to wrap up the PS3, I'll just throw in some names here, just so we don't leave anything out. Metal Gear Solid 4, Resistance 2. Personally, I think it's the best Resistance game. Let's see. The Tales games, if you're a JRPG guy. Ratchet and Clank Future, Crack in Time, Little Big Planet, Demon Souls, and Beyond Two Souls, maybe.
Yeah, that's definitely a maybe.
Yeah. All right, and I guess do you guys just want to leave this as a last gen thing, because it's kind of getting long anyways, right? Okay.
Yeah, we're 60 minutes in. So.
All right, and wrapping up the end of this topic, how about the Wii? Dyson, did you own a Wii?
Nope.
I think you speak for about a lot of gamers out there, actually.
I can't even think of a game that if I had a Wii U,
that's
what I'd play.
Right there. Yeah, there you go.
Right. Well, did you you must have at least tried Wii Sports, right?
Yes.
Like bowling, boxing, golf, that whole deal.
But that's something that you let your friends buy for you and you just play at theirs. But
yeah, sure.
Even a
definitely.
At least he's honest.
Okay. All right. Well, Vin, how about you? We exclusives?
Obviously, there was great games on it. That's the thing. Like, Nintendo have got a great first-party studio. This is a third-party, which they failed on. But obviously, they had some great Zelda games. They obviously had Mario Galaxy, which did really well.
Oh, the Galaxy series,
I didn't own a Wii, but I didn't own a Wii, but I definitely played some of these games. Obviously, Wii Sports. I mean, a lot of people chuckle at that and stuff, but it changed a lot of things. Like it definitely helped. Well, I wouldn't. It depends how you look at it, but helped the industry. It definitely helped that console, but it sort of made motion controls a viable concept just from that one little pack of mini games. Right. So that definitely does need a shout out.
No,
and people are still playing it today.
I think you're right. I mean, that might be arguably the best exclusive title if you don't include like the Galaxy series, but it was one of the most important, if not the most important, for the system.
Yeah, and people are still playing it today. I mean, there's probably families out there that still pull that console out on Christmas and still play bowling.
Right. Okay. All right. Sorry, Nintendo. We got to wrap it up because we're definitely going to be talking about you in a couple minutes. So let's just. I'll throw out. I think Donkey Kong Returns. Great game, ruined by stupid motion control stuff. In some aspects of it. Muramasa, the Demon Blade, Vanillaware. That game is absolutely beautiful. I mean, those guys with their games, Odin Sphere, Dragon's Crown, it's like moving pictures. Kirby's Epic Yarn, I can't believe I like that game. You can't even die in that game. But it's one of the best times I had playing with one of my friends. It's a great game. Obviously, the Galaxy series, and some notables: Fire Emblem, Radiant Dawn, Zack and Wiki, and Wario Land Shake It, and the WarioWare games in general.
It's the weird thing about Nintendo. Like, you listen to a title or you hear a title and you pick it up and you play it. Like, as ridiculous as some titles sound, like, some of them are just incredibly fun.
Right. Yeah. All right, here we go. Silent Hill Shattered Memories, Super Paper Mario, Xenoblade Chronicles, Sin and Punishment, Little King Story, No More Heroes, Metroid Prime 2, and that's about it.
Cool.
So, speaking of Nintendo, Vin, what is your topic for this week?
My topic of this week is titled Nin-F-Nintendo.
Yep.
Obviously, the news broke the other day. Nintendo had their sort of earnings report, and in the earnings report, they actually came out and said that the release date for the NX is going to be in a March 2017 window. But joining it along the way is going to be Zelda, which was originally announced back in 2014 to come out in 2015, was pushed back from 2015 to the beginning of 2016, and now it's obviously come out that it's got a whole year delay behind it. And I sort of just, like, there's obviously a lot of anger issues behind this whole subject because Nintendo have sort of just pulled the Band-Aid off, as it were, and they sort of fucked a lot of people over, I sort of feel, especially the fans, especially the loyal fans that have gone out and bought Wii U's, which are very few in the percentage of gamers these days. I think to this date, only 12 million units of the Wii U have been sold.
Yeah.
So it's hard. But so I wanted to kick this off with you, Evan, because obviously you're a Wii U owner. Like, how do you feel, like, as a Wii U owner and a Zelda fan? Like, what are your thoughts on, like, Nintendo pushing this back a year?
Well, I'll start off initially with, you know, being a Wii U owner, it's kind of been a struggle to find things to do on the system.
Right.
The system itself has some great games, but the thing that I get out of this the most is what the hell are they going to be doing with the Wii U for the rest of the year?
Yeah. That's my sort of problem with it. I mean, it's not... Because every other console generation, every other game console that we've ever had, if they have a successor, then they normally have a transition between successors, right? So, like right now, the PS3 is still a vibrant console, but the PS4 is out, and that's a part of the transition. It'll gradually fade away with games. And that's traditionally what normally Nintendo have done as well, but this time, a whole year earlier, they've just basically give up on it. Like, I know there's obviously a couple of other games still coming out for it, like Paper Mario and a couple of others, but outside of that, is there anything, really?
I don't know. And it's also like, that's if you like Paper Mario, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Everyone
so
thinks...
a big if to start off with.
Yeah, just because you have a first-party game means like, oh yeah, they've got stuff. Well, it's like, but that's one game, and that's if you like it. If you don't like that, well, then you're shit out of luck.
No, that's a good point.
I don't know what they're going to do with that system. That's like probably the most interesting thing that might come out of E3. Obviously, I want to see how Zelda's coming along. If it's...
But yeah, speaking of E3, though, they've announced, I think they've officially announced now that the NX isn't going to be at the conference at all. So the only thing that they're going to show is Zelda.
That's it.
Like, they've got Zelda, yeah. That's the only playable game they've already quoted. Zelda is the only playable game that they've got at their booth this year is Zelda. That's it. No other game.
That's insane. Dyson, you must feel great. It's like, well, I'm not missing. Well, yeah. I'm just saying, like, I'm not missing out on anything, at least, for the next 10 months, 11 months.
Yeah. No hard feelings to me personally, but it does make me question what the fuck they are actually trying to do, because I've got no clue. I personally would have just left E3 altogether. Like, if you're not going to reveal the NX and you only got one playable game, why not just wait until E3's died down with the PlayStation going all about the Neo and the VR? Like, you're just going to get swamped, and the Zelda would be overshadowed. So I would have just skipped the whole thing together. Like, why just keep it down to one game? Why not just wait later on, let the dust settle on the PlayStation stuff? That's my thoughts.
Yeah, Nintendo should just, like, the whole company should just go in cryo sleep and just wake up in March.
Yeah, with a big bang.
Yeah. Well, why do you think, Evan? Why do you think they've, like, skipped out on E3 this year?
I don't think... I think Kimishima probably looked at where the NX is, and he's like, this isn't ready, even though we have a prime time at E3 to put Nintendo back on the good foot and give these Nintendo fans what they want and show the world that, Nintendo's back, or, however you want to look at it. He probably looked at it and said, this isn't done, and we're, as a company, we're going to take the hit and wait it out till we can show this product in the best light, or as originally, conceived. And I think they're waiting on that. I don't know. What do you think?
I think my main worry with this is that it sort of reinforces the whole mobile aspect of the NX, which sounds weird, but I'll sort of explain. Mobile in Japan is huge, right? Like, it's the stats out there. I mean, Japanese people on average spend about $40 to $50 a month on mobile transactions alone, whereas in the West it's less than $5. So that's the sort of scale that we're talking about. And if they're skipping E3 for the NX, then they're looking at Tokyo Game Show to announce this thing all August, so they can show it off properly at Tokyo Game Show. And if that's the case, then that's their market. You know, they're aiming at Japanese people first and foremost. If that's the case, then I'm worried that they're just going to come out and be like, hey, we're attacking sort of like the iOS and Android market, and this thing is definitely like a mobile machine. But it just brings more concerns than it does like anything else. I mean, if this thing is coming out in March, then it should be like them designs should be almost done, you know, because they're about to go into production with it. And if they're about to go in production with it, then they should probably have a good idea what this thing is. So they should, in theory, have something to even mention at E3, but they're not. So I kind of feel like they're aiming for a different market rather than just it's not ready sort of thing. That's my main worry. I hope that's not the case. Obviously, I do want this to be a decent console. But yeah, how about you, Dyson? What do you think?
I think there is going to be some sort of gimmick, and while the games are ready, if they showed you the games, like the way that they would show the game, like, well, you would find out what the gimmick is. Like that would just kind of reveal the NX, and they're not ready to show the NX. That's an interesting. Like the Wii U's got really identifying gameplay with the screen. So if the next gimmick was something like that, and they showed games, like, well, what the fuck are those two screen things? All right, the NX is two screens. So I think they just try not to reveal anything by, you know, keeping it all under wraps until the NX is ready.
That's interesting, yeah. That's a good point.
But, like, when it comes to the hardware, like, if it is a hybrid console and it's like you're walking around with these, like, sort of almost mobile phones with joysticks sort of things, and then you take it home and it automatically syncs up to your TV with the main console and boosts the power and all this sort of stuff. But the thing with that is that if they're trying to inspire developers to work with their system, like, they need to get this stuff, like, out and showing to people, especially developers, to say, hey, look, this is our new system, this is the gimmick, so you can start thinking ahead and making games for it. But as they aren't doing that, and as they're sort of keeping hush-hush about all that, then who's making games for this thing other than Nintendo? And that sort of brings home like why Zelda has actually been pushed back. It's like, if Zelda's been pushed back a year just so this thing can come out at the same time as the NX to give it a fighting chance, that just tells me as a gamer that has no other console exclusives, like even in the pipeline, ready to ship at launch, because they're pushing back a game a year. And a lot of people are saying, well, the game, you know, isn't finished yet, and they've still got a year to perfect it and stuff like this. Last year, they pretty much said we need a few extra months to like finish up the finishing touches because we've never done like an open world game before. That's gone from a few months to another year. It's like, I honestly think that game is pretty much almost done, and it's just getting put into a vault pretty much for a year. And it's really sad. I really hate the fact that there's these Wii U gamers out there that are just waiting, like desperate for content, and it's been taken away just so Nintendo got a fighting chance at the next generation. I just think it's really dickish of them to do that, like just to abandon the only like few people that actually supported them.
Yeah, no, I think they look at the Wii U and said, this thing's dead. We're saying we're done with it.
And just like washing their hands with it.
From a perspective of a non-Nintendo fan, the Wii U is like dead already. Like they're not killing it. It's already dead. They're just trying to keep it alive. You know, put it on the drip. But you know, sometimes it's best just.
I don't even think they're doing that really.
I don't know.
I think the Wii U's been dead for a long time. They're just admitting it finally.
Yeah,
I'm quite cool with that. I'm quite cool with them just saying, "Look, we fucked up. We're just going to go all out on the NX." And if that means delaying Zelda, then just whatever, Nintendo. Just whatever.
No, that's a good point. You know, I mean, is it better to just like abandon the thing and just like take a deep breath and refresh? Like that, yeah, that's a good perspective to have actually. Maybe that's what they're doing. Maybe they're just saying we're going dark for the year Like, we're just pushing out the last couple of titles, and then we're done as a games company for 6 months, sort of thing.
Like Shane was mentioning on Game Face, how on the Wii U, they just exploded, like, the 21 launch titles or whatever. And then after that, they kind of like die off. So maybe just having the one exclusive at the start and then bringing out the titles slowly will actually like make the lifespan of the NX longer, instead of here's 20 titles and then you're going to get bored after like a year. Maybe they're going to start slowing the production or when they release them.
Yeah. I'm really worried that, because like the major studios that have said, hey, we're working with Nintendo to work on these games, are pretty much all Japanese studios at this point. There's a few Western developers, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying they're all, but there's a lot of heavy interest from Japanese developers. And all the developers which I've seen so far are mobile developers as well. So just the whole mobile side of it just scares the crap out of me.
I mean, you see Zelda, and it looks like no way can that run on a mobile device, surely.
Yeah, but I mean, like, if they had, like, if it is this hybrid console where you have the device which has got a screen on it which acts like the mobile part of it, you could take that out of the house and use it pretty much just to play mobile games on. Then you come home and it automatically syncs up to the main box,
right,
which is in the living room. And that's the more powerful system that sort of plays all the Zelda games and all this sort of stuff. But maybe there's, like, a downgraded version that you can play on the go.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, it could be cool. That's the thing. Like, at the end of the day, like, all this stuff could work. You know, mobile might be the next big thing for Nintendo. It might actually work.
Yeah, like, I've always thought Nintendo should put both their handheld and the console just into one device and roll with that. But
yeah,
see what happens.
I mean, it could work. It could be awesome. Like, we don't know. Maybe the NX will come out and it'll be twice as powerful as the PS4K. Maybe it'll have an emulator that runs every NES game, every SNES game, like, ever. And it's just like every game is $1 or whatever. You know, the ultimate Nintendo dream. That's what we want from a system, right?
Yeah.
But if they do that, we don't know. Like, could this thing just come out and it's like it's got a Mario and a Zelda on launch, a few mobile games, and it just fades out into the abyss like the Wii U did? That's the big worry.
I would really hope they wouldn't do something like that. And actually, the idea that they're trying to get the Japanese market back is, and I'm not saying like Japanese developers cater to Japanese gamers and Western developers cater to Western gamers, or vice versa, switch that combination around any way you like. But the United States is like 70+% of Nintendo's market.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying like, well, of course, mobile gaming is popular around the world, right? But just the percentage of mobile gamers to console gamers in Japan the ratio is like way off from that in the States. Totally different. So I wonder exactly what they're doing, because if you wanted to cater to any market, you would cater to your biggest market, which is the States. I don't know. I don't know what they're doing.
No, you're right. I mean, I remember when Sony were first planning the PS4, they got Mark Cerny to pretty much invent that thing, you know, like to put it together. And that was the smartest thing that Sony ever did, to hire an American to make that thing, you know? Like, because if they didn't, and that was just if that was designed by another Japanese, like, bunch of people, then I don't know if it would have fit in as well as it is right now. I don't think it would have done nearly as well. But the fact that Mark Cerny sort of stepped in and said, no, if you want to do well in America, you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to do this. And he did everything right, and it was perfect, and it was such a great launch. And I don't know, like, obviously Nintendo fans out there are going to be like, oh my God, no, never, like, Nintendo America could never take over the company. But, you know, maybe that would be a good thing at this point.
Right. And we're not saying anything about, like, America, right? We're just saying, like,
it's
a
not
company,
the West.
Right. Just using it as an example, right? Just a Japanese company like that, reaching out outside their wheelhouse to deal with the situation and turn things around. Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, obviously we'll have to see, and we can't even wait to see at E3 anymore, because that's like a whole third of what we were excited about just gone, you know. But, you know, we'll definitely see within the next year, and I really hope that Nintendo don't just make another Wii U and make the same mistakes again. But ever since they announced the NX, which was at a conference where they announced a partnership with DNA, which is the biggest mobile biggest mobile distributor in all of Japan. I mean, if you announce that at the same time that you're making a deal with DNA, then it doesn't look great, you know.
Yeah.
That's what worries me more than anything. But definitely have to see.
It just goes to show, like, I actually play my PlayStation 3 more than I play my Wii U, and I don't think that.
And that's last gen.
Yeah, and that's last gen exactly. I don't know what's going on. March is a really weird time to release a console as well. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. Nintendo, man. I don't even know what them boys are up to, but I hope they pull something out.
I guess the only thing, I was really excited to play Zelda this year, but that's not going to happen. I guess the main thing I'm excited for is just to see more of the game.
Well, we'll definitely see that at E3 at least.
Yeah.
We're coming up to the end of our podcast, so we're going to sort of close out with our content call-outs. So we'll start off with our guest this week, which is obviously Dyson. And Dyson, what is your content call-out from Sifter.net of the week?
My content call-out is the story of Overwatch. I don't know if any of you two have seen it.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of them.
It's really interesting because Blizzard have this like image of untouchable, can't do a thing wrong, they're the best, they made World of Warcraft. And then when you watch this video, right. It's like, you know, we fucked up. They were trying to make this MMO called Titan, and they were spending years and years on that, and that it just wasn't working. And Overwatch is like their ideas from Titan into this, but it seems really, you see the really hard work that they went through, and there's people that were working there for like 9 years that still hadn't actually brought anything out for the public to play. So it must have been a really big drain on them. And Overwatch.
Yeah, it must. I mean, I say the same thing about the developers that are working on Final Fantasy 15. You know, there's some guys working there. You know, they probably got their, you know, they broke into industry and like, oh my god, I'm working at Square Enix. Like, oh, it's going to be amazing. And then they've worked there for 10 years and they still haven't got a single game on their resume. You know, that's just heartbreaking. And
like, any respect to anyone that sticks through it all that time, like, amazing, really. I mean, incredible work. And it's just, anyone should watch it, really. Good insight into Blizzard and how they will.
Definitely. How about you, Evan?
My content call for this week is titled Kyoto Indie Game Studio Tour. So basically this guy, he worked at a couple of these companies, and he just did a YouTube video. It's like a Japan vlog where he visits the three, and the only three, Gaijin-owned indie game studios. Gaijin mean foreigner-owned indie game studios in Kyoto. We got Vitae Backroom. I don't know how to pronounce that. Q Games and 17-Bit. And he just goes around on his bike, and he visits each studio. And one, I think it's 17-Bit. Those guys, it's like they rented an apartment, and they're just in this apartment programming these games. And Vin, do you know those like those cheap metal shelving units that you can buy? You can just like screw them together. They're just ubiquitous, right?
So like the whole apartment's just filled out with that.
Yeah, and they're just sitting there on these things that like I've seen people like hang their laundry on, but they've like standing up and programming in these really really small rooms. It's having business meetings on a small tatami mats and stuff. It's just kind of cool. And I live in Kyoto, so awesome. It was interesting to learn a bit more about some indie studios that are in Kyoto.
There's quite a lot of indie studios in Japan as well. Yeah. Well, not loads, but there's some significant ones. Like there's a group of guys working over in Tokyo. Friend and Foe, that was it. Friend and Foe Studios.
Okay.
And they're actually a bunch of ex Sony devs, and they all used to work on The Last Guardian. And when they left, because they finished all like the environment art for the PS3 version, I think it was, they formed their own studio. It's just a bunch of foreigners or gaijin, and they're making a game called Vane, and it looks a lot like Eco and Journey and stuff like that, and it just looks incredible. Oh wow! But yeah, them boys are working over in Tokyo as well.
Oh, cool! I didn't know that. I'll have to check that out. Yeah, so yeah, it's just
check that game out, man. It looks beautiful.
Oh, we'll have to definitely. And Vin, how about you? What's your call out?
My content call out this week is going to Brent's Bloodborne training sessions, which he's been doing. I've watched the 2 episodes which he's posted up, and it's actually inspired me to start playing Bloodborne again, which I've been playing with my fiance, and we've both been chipping through it, trying to figure it out. But it's still hitting its problems. But like, I pretty much share like Brent's sentiment about, you know, how it's a bit unresponsive and things. So it's nice to like see like Brent's friend sort of coach him through it, you know. Like, and it's just Brent playing the game and dying, and his friend saying, "Oh, don't worry about it. Like, do this, try this next." And you know, it's a really interesting sort of, you know, video. Like, it kind of reminds me of when I was a kid, you know, and you have your best friend come over and he's finished the game and you haven't. It's that sort of conversation that's happening. So yeah, it's really cool.
It's cool framing for like a video game series.
Coming to the end of the podcast. Obviously, just want to say a massive thank you to Dyson for joining us this week, man. It's been really cool.
Yeah, it's been great.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Yeah, that sounded like I was being sarcastic.
Yeah, man, it's been great.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Dyson. Yeah, no, seriously, yeah, thanks for coming on. It's been fun.
No, thanks for having me.
No, it has been fun. No, man, you had a cool topic as well. Like, it was really interesting to sort of chip through that, what I would change.
Yeah, it was cool to see what you guys would change. You know, it tells more about the kind of person you are, or the kind of gamer you are. So I find it interesting.
I like how we have this massive time travel power, and we're going back, and we just like change the most minuscule things.
Yeah, fuck Lincoln.
Yeah, like we could have literally changed gaming forever, but fuck it, that Sonic game comes first. I actually thought you was just pretty good, Evan, because had that console succeeded and had a good launch, it might have been a completely different console space right now. Like, it could be totally different. We could be looking at their next console for E3, or like front knows what.
Well, Square Enix could have. Well, SquareSoft could have their own console because they did so well with Final Fantasy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
they'll be on Final Fantasy 23 by now.
But at the end of the day, what I'm trying to say is bonk. Check it out.
I will definitely check it out.
I'll definitely check that one out. Right. Cool. Like, coming up to the end of the podcast, do you want we're going to give a content. Well, not content call outs. We've already done that. We're gonna give our Twitter sign offs and just any general goodbyes. So, Dyson, have you got a Twitter handle and a sign off?
I do have a Twitter handle, but I'm not going to give it because I just don't care about Twitter.
Sure.
Well, I don't care about it just yet,
cool.
But I just can't be wrong getting into it.
Fair enough. Well, they can find you at DysonXP on sifted.net, right?
Yeah. I do have something that my friend's made, if I can help a friend out. He's
cool, go for it, plug it.
He's just recently started a new gaming YouTube channel. He's currently not on Sifted, as he really needs to be careful with his finances. You'll find out when you see the games he covers on YouTube. They're all like free-to-play games. It's hard to describe what sort of content he produces, but they are really unique and funny, so I'm really hoping you could... Sorry, I need to fucking start that again. I just know if he had at least one more subscriber other than myself, it would really motivate him further. So if you could please check out his channel, VRobot, and if you subscribe and comment, it'd be a good way to give him a taste of how supportive the Sifted community can be, and hopefully one day he can sign up and join Sifted.
Cool. So what was the name of the YouTube channel again?
VRobot.
VRobot.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, I'll definitely
so everyone go and
check
check that out, subscribe and comment, and give him your love, and hopefully you'll carry on doing awesome videos then. Cool. How about you, Evan? What is your Twitter and your sign off and any plugs you got?
I am the stand user on Sifted, Twitter, Gundam. Oh, I'm watching. Oh, Jesus Christ. I went to YouTube to check out VRobot. And there's an ad for Gundam playing. So.
And now Evan is obviously subscribed to it, and you can find him on there.
Yeah, and Sifted, Twitter, and Giant Bomb. And cool. Vin, how about you?
I am at VinHillArt on Twitter. You can find me and some of my finger paintings on there from time to time. Of course, you can always find me on sifted.net under the tag of VinHill. And if you want to be on the show like DysonXP has been today, then all you have to do is message Evan, which is the stand user on Sifted, and let him know what microphone you've got, where you are in the world, and when you can be on the show, and we'll get you on as soon as we can. The list is quite long at the minute, so first come, first serve, basically. Like, quicker you get the name in, the better. We're not too sure when you can actually be on the show, because I don't know how long the list is at this point, but it's still pretty beefy. It's really cool that so many people are interested in it, but definitely get your name in as soon as you can.
I just wanted to add something. If anyone was on the fence about signing up for the podcast, like, if their social skills aren't great, like, I have a really hard time speaking to a group, and I've survived. I've made it to the end, so I really hope anyone that's a bit...
I was going to say, man, it's been a bit,
Yeah. I'm really hoping anyone that's like, oh, I couldn't do that, they should definitely just put their name forward, and these two will definitely look after you and make you feel relaxed. So definitely put your name down if you're thinking about it.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thank you.
it.
Do it.
Cool. So from everyone here on Podcast Reload, just want to say thank you for listening, as always. Subscribe, comment, let your friends know, obviously, then the word can get around about sifted.net as well. So from everyone here, I'd like to say thank you, and we'll catch you guys later. So bye-bye.
See ya.
Sayonara.
Catch you later. See you on Sifted.
Shadow the Hedgehog.
That's pretty good.
That's good.
Every time you say sayonara, that's all I think about, Shadow the Hedgehog. So
Yeah.
Huh?
Did he have rocket skates?
he sure did.
Oh man.
Oh my goodness, are you serious?
And he had two.
Why would you give Sonic the Hedgehog rocket skates?
Well, you give Shadow the Hedgehog rockets.
Oh, Shadow. Sorry, my bad. God, my Sonic lore is way down right now.